Brad Klingman, who the heck are you? And how is it you come to be speaking to all these forward-facing cabinet makers and mill workers all around the world?
All the other products that I sold, like office supplies, printed products, all kinds of different things, they were all kind of like things that anybody and everybody could sell, right?
I think it makes a lot more sense to be Brad during business hours and Dad after business hours. For me, it's more of like subconsciously, I want him to take me seriously in the family business.
I wouldn't say it was a table conversation at all. It was more of I would call it more of a journey that really was based on these two's lives, right? They did not plan on being in the business.
I'm Dominic Rubino. Welcome to the Cabinet Maker Profit System podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about the family business and how to pass the torch without losing your sanity or your kids. And the guest that we have is actually three guests. It's Brad, Hannah, and Kalli Klingman. Some of you may know the Klingmans from RiseUp Label. So they're in our industry, kinda. You know, they're adjacent to our industry, but they certainly serve the industry. And many of you have met them at different trade shows and conferences. Well, I met them at a conference, and I thought they had a really interesting story. And I thought, you know what, that family angle is so important for so many of us who want to pass this business on to our kids, whether your kids are boys or girls, or maybe you want to pass it on to your niece and nephew, or maybe your management team. Either way, the process really is the same. And so we're going to be talking to the Klingmans about that today. One of the tools that I think would be very important for you if you're ready to think about, if you're just ready to start thinking about passing this business on, is the blind spots assessment tool. So think about that as you listen to the episode. And if it's of any interest, let me know and I'll send it off. All right, well, let's get to the episode. Brad Klingman, how the heck are you?
I am great, sir. How are you today?
I'm good. I see you've got the whole crew with you today.
I got the crew.
You've got the crew. Yeah, well, I met yourself and Hannah at there was the CMA event, right?
Correct.
The crazy cross-border 2 fantastic shop tour that we did.
It was awesome.
Yeah. Great to see how shops on both sides of the border have the same principles running them.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. Hey, Brad and team, because I'm going to get Hannah and Kalli to introduce themselves as well. Brad, tell us, I'll ask you this question, okay? It's going to sound super abrupt, but here it comes, okay? Brad Klingman, who the heck are you? And how is it you come to be speaking to all these forward-facing cabinet makers and mill workers all around the world?
Well, Dom, I never thought you'd ask. I appreciate the opportunity. Yeah, my name is Brad Klingman, and I have a company called RiseUp Labels, and we supply label solutions, actually kind of niche label solutions, we'll call them, to the woodworking industry. I've been a part of this industry since the 90s. And I cut my teeth on it way back then with some of the big plants in the country. And I learned a lot along the way. And so about 5-6 years ago, we decided that this is all we were going to do. I used to...
What, just cabinetry and millwork?
Just the woodworking industry and only labels, because I wasn't in a label company originally. We did a lot of different things, print and office supplies and a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then, lo and behold, about a year ago, I found all my dreams to come true that my kids would be working with me. And so I have Hannah, my 25-year-old daughter, and Kalli, my 23-year-old daughter, on the team. So like I said, that's a dream come true for me.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Well, let's get to Hannah and Kalli in a second. But when you started the business, you were selling other products. What made you decide that woodworking needed more and better labels?
That's an easy one. All the other products that I sold, like office supplies, printed products, all kinds of different things, they were all kind of like things that anybody and everybody could sell, right? They'd give you a sample of a form, and they'd say, "Hey, what's your price on that?" And so,
right.
Yeah, so lowest price, or if they happen to like Brad that day, we'd get the business, right? With labels, it was a whole different thing, and I discovered this till they needed solutions. And and if you found that solution, you all of a sudden became not just a salesperson, but more like a consultant, somebody that was actually helping their business. And
adding value.
Yeah. That is like hands down the most amazing way to do business. And that's what we love about this.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thanks, Brad. Now we've got Kalli and Hannah. Who wants to go first in telling us what the heck you're doing here and how you're in this woodwork industry?
I'll go first. So my name is Hannah. I'm the oldest daughter. I am currently doing the marketing for RiseUp Label, as well as getting into some of the operations and trying to get into a little bit of the leadership as well. I have owned my own business, my own marketing agency for about 5 or 6 years now. So I've been doing that since college. And about, a year, maybe a year and a half ago, I joined the family business. We just decided it was the right time for me to hop in. We had been talking about it, obviously, since I was a lot younger, and it just was never the right time until a year and a half ago. We had quite a few conversations about it, and I decided that the woodworking industry was something that was of interest to me, and I was able to bring my skill set over to the company. So now we're just chugging right along.
That's fantastic. We're, today's topic, and for everybody out there listening, we're going to be talking a lot about family business dynamics and how you transition family in. And Brad, you're a leader in this, so I'm excited. We're going to hear Kalli's perspective now. Kalli, what about you?
Yes, so I graduated college about a year ago. My degree is completely unrelated, but that's okay. To anyone out there listening who didn't use their college degree, I get it. So I got out of college and I had the decision to either join the family business or go pave my own way. And at that time, Hannah was working with Brad as well, and his business was taking off, and so there was opportunity for me there. And now I've been working in the business for about 7 or 8 months, and here we are. I do a lot of the people events, I would say, like the trade shows, the associations, a lot of sales, and we kind of work a little bit on marketing together as well. But a lot more customer facing type things I'll do.
Excellent. Yeah. I love the fact that there's so many questions I have, because transition plans or succession plans, like how do we bring our kids into the business? Do our kids want to come into this business? Right? Is a big question. And the first thing that a lot of woodworkers think is, does my son or daughter want to run an edge bander? And that's not the only place to work in the business. Right? There's other, and for yourselves, there's multiple roles that you guys have created. So thanks for the intro. I've got a question. And this was not a question I had prepared, but it's one of the challenges I see out there. I noticed you call your dad Brad.
Yeah. We've been working on that transition.
Yeah, but can we talk about that for a second? Why did you guys have a discussion about that, and why is that important?
Honestly, no, we never had like an official discussion about it. I would just say we see a lot of other family businesses in the industry as well. And like those kids also call their dads like by their first name. So I think it just kind of caught on for us. I don't know. We didn't really have an official start, but it's definitely been a fun transition, because we'll go to trade shows and stuff and we'll be at a booth together. And I'll be talking to a customer and maybe not know an answer to their question. And I'll turn around and be like, Brad, and they'll just laugh their heads off, and they love it. They think it's awesome, but it's been a fun transition for us to kind of, make that boundary.
Yeah, I've got my opinions on this as well. I actually have very strong opinions on this, as you might imagine. I'm going to go to Hannah next and then Brad on this. Hannah, what about you on referring to your father as Brad and not Dad?
Yeah, I think it makes a lot more sense to be Brad during business hours and Dad after business hours. For me, it's more of like subconsciously, I want him to take me seriously in the family business, and being able to call him Brad instead of Dad is kind of like, I don't know, it just adds a little bit of, I feel like, credibility to me, not referring to him.
Professionalism. Yes.
Yeah, professionalism, credibility. All of that gets set to have a little bit more of a boundary during work hours.
Yeah. Okay, Brad.
Well, Dom, I'm really glad you asked this question, because this is the first time I've heard these guys really kind of bring that off the table. I mean, we've talked about it, but more of it's talking from the dad standpoint of like tears rolling down my eyes. I want to be dad, though.
And you are dad. You never stop being dad.
No, I won't. But it actually, in a funny way, and any dad that works with their children I know they say the same thing. There is a part of it that's a little bit tough, because we're a close family, and we do a lot of things on weekends and stuff like that. And on the weekends, I'm just crossing my fingers, hoping that they call me dad, and I get a dad hug and whatever. So it's a little stressful things, right?
Yeah. I, this was not a prepared question, but I see it affecting and I'm talking to everybody out here, not just the 3 or 4 of us, but I see shops where somebody, let's say the son comes in and starts referring to his dad as dad on the shop floor. It's horrible because nobody ever takes him seriously. He's always the son of, right? And with the daughters as well, like I'm very traditional. Like, I'm dad. My kids call me dad. There's a couple times my sons called me Dominic, and I'm like, it just sounds weird. It comes out of his mouth all wrong, right? But I understand the context when he's doing that. It's usually in sports where, we're talking to the coaches and things like that, and he wants to establish that credibility, that independence, right? So I'm glad you guys did that, and I hope this is a valuable piece of conversation for everybody out there, because you cannot say, well, I'm going to ask my daddy to fill out that order form.
Yeah.
Or, daddy, what's going on with the edge bander or that install? You just can't do that. And the one going through my mind is not a young lady saying that to her dad. It's a son who's referred to his dad as daddy.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You can do it. Go ahead. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Especially long term for future reasons.
Yeah. Just real quick story on my side. My first job in construction was in framing with my Uncle Julio. Uncle Julio is my favorite uncle in the world. I would see him up on some 4-story walk-up building, sitting on the edge of the soffits, banging away with his hammer. Super high energy guy. And so he asked me to work with him, just a laborer, right? I was a kid in high school. Before I got to work the first day, he's like, "You don't call me Uncle Julio ever. If you do, these guys will eat you alive."
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't even know you by any other name. Like, it was hard for me to separate Uncle Julio from Julio. But when they did find out that I was his nephew, things got tough on me real fast. And construction crews, especially framers, are not known for their subtlety. Yeah. But it took a couple months for that to find out, right? All right. Nice sidebar. Thanks, guys. Hey, I want to tell you a story about a lighthouse and a ship on the high seas. And of course, you're the captain of the ship, right? Ships don't need a captain at the wheel every second of the day. What they really need is a light to guide them safely home. And that's the role of a foreman in your shop. It's a steady guide. Now, the problem is most foremen were promoted for their skill on the tools, not their leadership. And on top of that, until now, there's really never been a way to train foremen on leadership skills. Well, Foreman 101 fixes that. Join my free information call. I need the owner and the foreman there together, and I'll show you the actual class agenda. Get on the wait list for the next free information session. Just text me at 206-208-7581 and say, foreman training, and we'll get you on the list. So I want to find out about this conversation, because let's think. Right now, we're talking to all sorts of family businesses out there, right? There's people that just make dovetail drawers. There's people that do full cabinets. There's residential. There's commercial. There's all that stuff. So let's forget about our trade, but let's talk about the family dynamic and how we moved into this place where you're all working together. What was the conversation at the table? And maybe we'll go to you, Brad, where it was time to bring in Hannah and Kalli.
Well, I wouldn't say it was a table conversation at all. It was more of I would call it more of a journey that really was based on these two's lives, right? They did not plan on being in the business. Now, they were around it because it was a family business. I did work out of the home. So ultimately they did see things and they learned things, and we had talks. But I wasn't the dad that like made them work 8 hours a day after they got home from work or anything. It wasn't that. It was like, okay, Christmas, we're going to give out presents to all of our customers. So they would spread out all the goodies on the ping pong table in the basement, and they package them up, and I'll be like, good job, girls, So that was the beginning of that, but I had no clue. They both were paving their way. They were going to college. They both got their degrees, and Hannah started a business in college that was, social media. Had nothing to do, little did I know it did, but had nothing to do with me. And then Kalli was going to be in nutrition or public health. She has a passion for that kind of stuff. And so I had no expectation whatsoever, Dom, that this was ever going to happen. All of a sudden, it just was like, well, our business was taken off, and Hannah found out that Oh my gosh, actually, woodworkers do social media. They do it. And she's like, you know what? Maybe I will give this a shot, Dad. There's more, Brad. There's more to it, than I think. So she jumps in, and then all of a sudden we're taking off, and it's getting busier and busier. Kalli kind of comes off of back from a trip from Costa Rica in her little plan, and comes back, and all of a sudden it's like there's a spot there if you want. So it fits.
Yeah.
She jumps in and helps out, and here we are, almost a year later.
Yeah. And what about you guys, Kalli and Hannah? Like, what was that transition in your mind to like, hey, maybe I could work with Brad?
Yeah, I think for me, I think we kind of had this conversation over and over again for maybe 6 months before I did officially join. We were talking about whether woodworkers were online or not, whether there was a need in his business for online support, whether the future of the company was online or whether it was going to keep being door-to-door sales. And so it was kind of like a living, breathing conversation for several months before we actually made any decisions. And I think the final decision came when I took him on in my business as, a quote unquote client, just to try him out.
Sure.
Yeah, it kind of started out more of that avenue. And I realized that, like he said, the woodworking industry is in fact online. And, my perspective of that completely shifted. We started gaining traction on social media with what I was doing, and it just kind of snowballed from there. I realized there was more potential for me to do other forms of marketing in the company, and then moving more so to like, well, what does this look like long term? What could my role look like long term beyond just doing social media for the company? And obviously we're still working through that. It's only been a year. But I just keep finding myself getting more and more involved as time goes on.
Yeah. Very cool. And Kalli, about yourself?
So I obviously graduated not that long ago. And then for me, it was kind of a long decision as well if I was going to join the family business or not. And I will say to families out there, there's a lot of opinions out there about.
There's a lot of what? Sorry, opinions?
Opinions, yeah. There's a lot of different opinions on whether or not a kid should jump into the family business or if they should go do their own thing for a while and then come back to the family business. Or there's just a lot of different opinions about that, and you're going to hear it all. And that's kind of like something that I went through. Is I talked to all my close people in my life, and there were so many different stories for what people thought was right or wrong. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you kind of have to just talk like amongst your group and the team, and also the boss, obviously, about what's going to work best for you, where you're going to fit, how it's going to go. So not just like a quick jump in and go. It's like, it's planning, it's talking about it. Where do your skills come into play? And like, do we have a spot for you? And really it's been fun for us because over time we've been able to see like where I fit, where Hannah fits, where Brad is. And we've just been able to kind of puzzle that together and figure out how to make a pretty good team.
Yeah. Very interesting. And there's nothing but opportunity for any company to bring in kids or maybe other family members as well. Just really define that role.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
that's
come in and learn.
Yeah, that's another thing too that helped. Like for me, like it is such an opportunity to join a family business. I mean, you're working with your closest people, and like for us, we have a lot of the same values and similar morals, and you work together as a team through that together.
Yeah. Isn't it funny that you talk about values? Because values drives everything. It drives how we price. It drives the color of the uniform. You guys have some really nice uniforms on now. It drives the color of the uniform that you choose. It drives everything, and it so often gets overlooked. I know that when I talk about values with clients, I joke that I'm talking about Lucky Charms and rainbows and unicorns, but it's the glue that holds everything else together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I definitely think it helped us all decide that we could share a mission and be able to achieve something that held purpose for us. That we definitely didn't take this decision lightly.
That's very deep thoughts from you, Kalli. That's excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Brad, when you look forward to the future of this industry, I mean, you've been at this since, what did you say, 1990?
91, yeah.
91.
Yeah.
That's a long time. I started in coaching in 2000. So you and I have been around since the turn of the century, man.
Yes. That's why we have this stuff called gray.
In the opening chapter of my book, I said the whole thing's written in gray hair and wrinkles.
I'm going to write the sequel.
Join me in it. Yeah. Maybe I should do that a couple of interviews. Well, the family business side is so interesting because maybe you don't want to sell the business to somebody else, like somebody off the street. Maybe you want to sell it to your kids or your foreman or somebody that's related to you so that they can take over the momentum that you've built, right? And we're not talking about you selling RiseUp Label, although I'm sure if the offer came in, you would entertain it. But what do you think? What did you think when you first started the business, and what sort of transitions have you gone through in your thinking to get us here today?
Well, back, like I said, when the kids were young, I literally, I'm just being honest. I didn't sit and dream about that or think about that. I just figured I was, I'm building a business, I'm busy and I got to keep my nose to the grindstone to keep building it and keep going. So I wouldn't say that was a big thing on the front burner. But as this actually started to become a reality, and all of a sudden I started thinking about what it truly meant. It almost was like chicken before the egg or the egg before the chicken. When they came in and started getting involved and actually expressed interest, all of a sudden I'm like, whoa. And I started thinking about, well, this is pretty interesting and pretty cool and pretty deep, like you were saying, deep, because all of a sudden I'm going, this is not just for me anymore, Dom.
Right.
I figured, we were going to have a business and I was going to, go until I retired or have my, somebody buy it, or, maybe one of my employees, I don't have a lot of employees, but one of my employees takes it over or whatever. But now you bring this into it, and it literally brought the level of, oh man, I don't even know.
Energy. I've seen the energy change.
Yeah. There's a level of energy and there's a level of investment that's totally different when it's your own children and generations. The idea now of Rise Up going on for generations is really exciting to me. It's like, wow, that's almost like a pinch yourself moment, right?
Yeah. That's why I was asking those questions about how do you get your kids involved in the conversation and open it with them? Like, do you want to get into our business? And again, this doesn't matter what business we're in. This is just about family succession planning. Like, actually, here, let me do this. I'm going to ask this of Kalli and Hannah. What would have been the worst approach that Brad could have taken? Hey, did I ever tell you the story about the shepherd and the sheepdog? It's a great story. You may have heard it before as well. A shepherd can't watch every sheep at the same time. Every sheep, all the sheeps. That's why he's got sheepdogs, to keep the flock moving in the right direction and get them from one end of the farm to the other safely and on time. In your shop, think of your foreman as the sheepdog. If he's not trained and healthy and taken care of, the whole crew scatters and jobs fall apart. Well, that's why I run Foreman 101 training. It's training designed to make the foreman lead the crew, not just swing a hammer. Now, we're running a free 1-hour information call where owners and foremen have to attend at the same time. Get on the wait list for the next free information session. Now, just text me at 206-208-7581 and say foreman training, and then we'll get you on the list.
Forcing us? Probably shoving it down our throats kind of a thing, which he didn't do at all. It was just kind of like sitting there, and it was just an opportunity that was on the table, and we could take it if we wanted, and if we didn't want to, we didn't have to. So really, I think like some people do kind of take that approach, and I don't know if that, would work the same way it worked for us. But for us, it was just an opportunity we could take.
Yeah. I think like growing up there, like he said, there was never an expectation that we would join the family business. There was never that pressure that this is what the next step is supposed to be, because that's why he built it, was for you. And if you didn't want it, it was a guilt trip. And there was just no pressure at all. And it was just more so of like, if this is the way that makes sense and there's opportunity and it seems like the best move for everyone involved, like let's think about all those things. And if it's good, let's go. And if it's not, then we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
And it was really like, it was mentioned every now and then. Like it wasn't something that was like not
totally out of the blue. Yeah.
Exactly. It was presented to us as an option. I mean, we did a couple of things for him when we were little, and even like we didn't even really know what he did, but we were still doing some little things here and there. But he made it.
My dad sells stickers.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly. And he would make it fun and whatever. But then, as we got older, he would kind of sometimes say like, "Oh, it'd be really cool, like if we had a family business," or like he would just put little feelers out there. But it was never forced. It was never pressure.
Sure.
Yeah.
This is so good because I'm sure people are taking all sorts of different messages from this and also maybe thinking, uh-oh, I was doing that. Maybe I should tone it back.
Yeah.
Hey, let's talk about rules. Like, when does it become family time when we call him dad? And when is it business time? Like, do you guys have rules about that kind of thing?
I don't think we have rules set yet. That might be something that comes later down the road when we kind of start seeing more of the patterns that are emerging. I think we're still in those early stages. However, I think one expectation that we've thrown out there is if it's after 5 p.m. and we're at dinner, we're only talking about work if both people want to talk about work at that time. If one person is uninterested, we're cutting it off there and we're talking personal. Like, we all have to be in the mood to talk about business after business hours for us to move forward with that.
I think that's a pretty good rule.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say here that we have we've kind of, and I wouldn't say we purposely did this, but I guess we were all, I don't know if smart enough's the word, but we figured out, I was like, we need to make this a safe place, when we are together. Cause like we play volleyball together on Tuesday nights. And so, if we're sitting there and something comes up, it's like, it's a safe place to say, you know what, any one of us, I think at any point in time would respect the fact that, hey, I want to talk about volleyball right now. Okay. And boom. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Total. It's like a reminder. It's almost like hey, whoa, cause especially me, I can get very engulfed in the business and it can carry with me sometimes too often. We all know how that is as business owners, but, they have the safe place to say, hey, Dad, let's stop. Okay.
This is volleyball time, or this is barbecue time, or we're walking into church. No, we're not going to talk about this now.
Dads.
Right?
Yeah, we're also too like intentional, like personal time. Like there's been a few times like Brad and I we'll shut our laptops and we'll say, okay, we're going out to dinner tonight and we're not going to say a single word about work. We just need to catch up on life, know what's going on in the personal life, and just catch up that way, like as friends more. And that,
yeah. Again, so many takeaways for people, and every family is different. No family is perfect, but it's interesting to hear the stories about how you guys are approaching this, especially this early part of your journey, because it's a chance to reinvent the company.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right. We've got a new engine behind it, really a lot of marketing engine behind it on both sides from Kalli and Hannah. And then Brad, you're still doing what you do in the operational side of the business. So for everybody listening, whatever you're doing, you can do more of. You can also switch gears. I'm supposed to be interviewing you, but I'll tell you a quick story. There's a company I worked with where the dad wanted to bring the son in, but the dad was still young and energetic. This happened to be a landscaping company, so not in the cabinetry industry at all. There was no room for the son, and the dad wasn't really interested in making room for the son. Like no interest at all, because it was his name on the company, everything, and all the machinery had his name on it. But what we did is, because the son still needed a place to grow, is we spun off another company. So they did hardscaping. So imagine that a museum is getting built in the city. The dad's company would come and do all the retaining walls and the pavers and all that stuff, right, with the heavy equipment. The son said, well, I'll just get into underground the water systems, water sprinklers. And that they turned that up into a $2 million company, by applying the rules that we showed them, the strategic systems inside the company. The son just had another desk in the office, and he grew that to a $2 million operation next to his dad, not against his dad, right? And so the dad could do his thing until he wanted, and the son could do his thing. So we all have a different path through this, all of us, but we just have to figure out what that is and then follow it.
Yeah. Actually, Don, that's very confirming to something we've actually been talking about.
Water sprinklers?
Yeah, water sprinklers and landscape or hardscapes, whatever we call them. But no, actually, we do have two channels of ways that we do business with the woodworking industry, and we're talking about actually splitting that off and letting Hannah and Kalli deal with all the social media and the web watering and all that stuff. That attracts a certain kind of crowd that pays with a credit card for a case of labels. But then I'm working with some of the larger organizations where I have the whole business development stuff, and it totally makes sense because that's what I've done my whole life. And so I go out there, but so we're talking about that right now, and it might create a neat little separation, keeping us together, but Rise Up 1, Rise Up 2.
Great. Yeah. So there's lots of opportunities, and everybody out there has that same thing. You know, spinning off the installation company is a thing that lots of cabinet shops can do. And for anybody listening, I'm not sure if you've ever realized the install side of your business is a totally different operation than the manufacturing side. Right? In manufacturing, we all drive to the shop, do our work, and then we go home. The install side comes to the shop, puts everything in the van, and leaves. And, you know, it's more of a dispatch focused company, and there's different factors there. So for all of us, we all have different operations, but we can get creative on how we bring in other people if they want to come in, as you guys pointed out, right? As you guys pointed out. Okay, what's the question you thought I was going to ask you today? What's the big dun dun dun? We're talking about family succession planning. I can tell you what it is.
Help us.
What does the next 10 years look like? Do you guys have a formal plan, or do you have more of a loose plan? Or actually, here, let me back it up. Do you guys have a regular meeting where you talk about the status of the business and where you want to go next?
We have our 11 a.m. Tuesday team meetings that we try as hard as possible to stay productive and on task during.
Oh, you just said that to a business coach, Hannah. Tell me more.
Tell me more about that.
Tell me more about that. Yeah. What do you mean? We try to have the meeting, we try to keep it scheduled, and we try to keep it on focus.
Yeah. Sometimes they can be hard for not only for business to flow into personal, but for personal to flow into the business hours as well.
Great. Good point.
Yeah, keeping 3 people with different personalities on track of the same conversation can be interesting, but we do our best to meet every Tuesday. We have different days where we work, like Brad and I will work, Kalli and I will work. We have different meetings that we set up. And I think one of our goals that we are still working on hitting every week is focusing on high level future of the business. You know, is what we're doing today going to help us build the business that we want to have in 10, 15, 20 years?
I love it. So can I just, Hannah, I'm going to double down on that.
Yeah.
What happened, as much as you can share, you can make it pretty generic, but what happened to make you think that that would be a valuable meeting to have, to do that future casting of the business?
I think for me, the value set on something like that is we've always made the effort to work with coaches or people that were further in business, further in life than we are. And that is always something that has been brought up as a valuable thing to do is, you know, don't get so buried in your work that you can't see what's in front of you or can't see what's happening next, or all of a sudden you build this business that wasn't actually what you wanted to build and it doesn't suit your lifestyle anymore. And that was obviously coming from, you know, from all the things that Brad did along the line and the lessons that he passed down to us as well. So I feel like it was not negotiable, you know, if you don't skip our Tuesday meetings.
You don't do what? Sorry?
We never skip our Tuesday meetings. Like it's something we do every week, and we try and stay focused on the high level things and like what's going right, what do we need to change, and are we building the business that we want to have in the future?
Yeah, I'm so glad to hear that. I'm a big fan of simple systems, but also the rhythms of business. When a business that runs on repeatable rhythms, it's just so much easier to stay in that groove. And if you break it, you know, there's 3 of you. So let's just say that Brad is off site. And so you and Kalli look at each other and go, well, we won't have the meeting today. But that's, if for everybody listening, that's the wrong answer. Yeah. As long as 2 of you are there, the meeting happens. And for sure, if 3 of you are there, the meeting happens. And I understand life gets in the way, and sometimes all 3 of you are off site. But, you know, imagine in a 52-week year, if you had that kind of meeting 48 times, or you didn't have that meeting 48 times, well, how would those 2 businesses grow? Right?
it's definitely something you have to intentionally carve out time for.
Yeah. Have you guys thought at all about and this is going to be a little bit of a technical question that has to do with labels, but there's so much technology coming at us these days. What's the future of label technology as it comes to millwork, and how does millwork production evolution impact labels?
Well, I'll speak to that. What we're seeing is, and this is all the way from the guy that runs the one or two man shop all the way up to the big shops, but the labeling, identifying, I should say, because of the things that you coaches are out there coaching lean and coaching these companies to be smarter and use technology. Maybe what you have 3 employees doing, maybe you do need to look at this fancy robotic CNC machine, because you'll be able to have more output. So what we're seeing across the board, we get more calls of people saying, "Hey, I'm getting into labeling. Never done it before. We've been writing with a Sharpie." So we get that all the time. So
Yeah.
as I'm watching this, and then you can go all the way past standard old labels, which have maybe a barcode or maybe no barcode, maybe a QR code, maybe just information, maybe a diagram of the cabinet. Now we're moving on to potentials of RFID, radio wave frequency, so they know what every single part that goes on that truck.
Right.
Under one scan. Imagine that.
Are you talking about a complete load going out to one job site at a time, and it's automatically tracked back?
Bingo. It just
Wow.
runs right underneath it runs right underneath. Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah, I'm excited.
All that stuff, we're seeing all that happen, and we're in ways we're on the front end of it, but we cover it, from the front to the back. So it's really cool to have the solutions to sit down with these guys and have conversations that they haven't been able to have with one single company. In order to get all that information, they have to sit down with the IT people, the printer people, the CNC people, and then, oh gosh, we got to get a label. So then they go online and they try to find the label, and so it's really, again, that's where I see us the opportunity to be able to fit in and help an industry, and not just, like you said, you don't just sell labels. Okay. So it's like, how can we
Solutions
come alongside of these problems that are out there and these challenges?
So this is a good place actually for me to ask this question, because a lot of people might not be familiar with labels. In my head, the companies of a certain size are already using that technology, but there's probably people listening who don't.
Right.
So can you give us a success story or a case study? And obviously we're going to take the names out of it. It can be, Fred Flintstone or Ross and Rachel, whoever you decide to make the company owners, but who started at X and then realized life could be better if they applied this tool, and it became X times 3.
Yeah, are you comfortable because you've had the success stories?
Well, not with starting with labeling, but
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I would go to it's I'm thinking of all the emails or the website hits that we get where they're like, you have literally been the change of the year. You transformed our business, and we're like, whoa, it's a
Wow.
Well, no, we actually get that a lot, and the reason is because, and we see this a lot. So I'm not going to just choose one scenario, but when these companies figure out the fact that there is a label out there that does not cost them between 2 and 3 minutes to clean off of every part, because that label was supposedly removable and it did not come off, and now they're cleaning every part at the end of the line before they assemble the cabinet with turpentine and heat guns, blah blah blah.
Extra processing. Yeah.
Yes, all the extra labor. That's where the fit is, and if you have a label that actually works, it sticks when it's supposed to stick, and it comes off clean without creating a disaster. Those are all of our testimonies, and they come back to us and they're like, "Whoa, this was literally one of the changes of the year, because we've been dealing with this problem and hiring employees to clean up,
to clean labels,
just to clean up their brand new product." Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So cool. Well, I appreciate that, because there's a lot of people out there looking either on the, they're early in the solution where they're still using Sharpies or maybe nothing, or they're later in the solution where they've got extra labor, extra processing, which of course completely hits profitability.
Yes.
So profitability and scheduling.
Yes.
Right? Because if you're taking somebody off the line to do that, then they're not redeployed somewhere else. All right. Let me put this question to Hannah. Hannah, if somebody wants to find out more about you guys, where the heck do we do that?
Yeah, so step one would be our website and our online store, which is at riseuplabel.com. We also are working on filling in our blog with a lot more like helpful tips, resources for how to set up, excuse me, printers, labels, all of that good stuff. So our blog is in the works. Otherwise, on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Rise Up Enterprise, you can pretty much search Rise Up Label and find us, or search Brad, Hannah, Kalli, Klingman, and you'll be able to find us pretty much anywhere online.
Yeah. I mean, Brad, your social media game has gone through the roof. I think I was standing next to Hannah.
I was just going to raise my hand and say, if you're old like Dom and I, why don't you pick up the phone? We'll answer.
I think there was a point at the CMA conference where Hannah was taking a picture. I'm like, can you just tag me in it and I'll read it? I just didn't bother anymore because I'm like, I'm going to get it wrong. I'm going to say the wrong thing. I don't know what to tag. And I got all thumbs. And so I was like, what's that? Sorry?
There's a new generation for that.
Yeah.
There's a new generation for that. That's right. Well, guys, listen, I'm really glad that you came here with the sort of the open heart to be able to share with other family businesses how you guys got to where you are. And clearly you're starting the journey, but you've started the journey, right?
Yeah.
Both of you came from different places, not cabinetry, right? Not the trade itself. And then you found ways to add value to this and make it, and you guys are all so happy together all the time too. You can't fake that.
Every day.
Yay. We're always happy, right? All the time.
Have an issue.
Never. Brad, this is a private question without, Hannah and Kylie listening. Do they ever just roll their eyes at you and go, Dad?
Since they were 3.
Yeah. My daughter starts most of her sentences with me with Dad. Yeah. All right, guys. Great to have you on the show. I really, really appreciate you sharing your story. Thanks, guys.
Thanks
Thank you
for
for having us.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Well. I want to say thanks to the Klingman family for walking us through succession planning as they know it. As you heard, folks, they're pretty new in the journey. But didn't you hear some great, fantastic stuff that I hope you have going on in your family? First, a super loving family. Everybody loves working together. They've all got a plan. Hannah brought up, it's Brad during business hours and Dad after business hours. I did not think I was going to be asking that question at the beginning of the episode, but it turned out to be such a powerful and important part of it. Kalli brought up something cool when she said, we have a lot of the same values and similar morals, and we work together as a team. Well, of course, because you're a family, you would think that's the case. But, we see a lot in coaching is that families don't have the same morals or values or goals, which is kind of normal as well. Everybody's family situation is different. So don't measure yourself against anybody else. Measure yourself against yourself. By the way, one of the tools to do that is to get the blind spots assessment. That way you can get everything on paper. You guys can just look at it, look at everybody's answers and have a discussion right there. You might as well have these talks now while everything is calm and smooth until you have the time when you want to start to transition the business, however that's going to look. If you want the blind spots assessment from me, go ahead and grab it. Just ask for it by text message. My cell phone number is 206-208-7581 and say blind spots, and we'll send it over. And while we're waiting for that, you guys know that these episodes are really just a flimsy excuse until the day that you and I can actually meet together like real humans. I don't know, maybe we're at a conference and we're stuck in one of those crazy escape rooms. We can't figure it out. We're just sitting there on the floor, chit-chatting, waiting for the 20-year-old clerk to come and let us out with that bored look on their face. Maybe that's how you and I are going to meet. I don't know how it's going to be, but we'll figure that out. All right. Thanks for checking in, folks. We'll see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.